Hey guys, Mr. Schafer here. Welcome to my digital classroom. This video is for my English 11 students. Before we get into today's topic, which is satire, I am going to quickly show you how to make sure you have the right materials for this lesson. First off, you want to make sure you're in my Google Classroom. You go to your email, and if you don't see an invitation in your primary box, you should go over to Updates, and you should see a message something like this, Class Invitation, English 11. Once you find that, you're going to want to scroll down and click on the Join button. Simple enough. I'm sure most of you have joined a Google Classroom before. So, once you are there for today's lesson, you're going to want to pop over to Classwork. This is where all of your stuff's going to pop up for class this year. And you're going to want to open up the Introduction to Satire Slides video lesson. This video will be posted inside of this right here once we're all done. So if you click on that, it will open you up to a tab that I already had opened, but I'll just close that one now. And the next one below is the student activities thing. This is what you actually need to do for a grade. So open that up, and you will see both of these are PowerPoints. Again, this is the one you have to fill out. This one right here is what you're going to do to follow along with my video right here and to fill in your slides in the blank spots where it prompts you for answers. Okay, if you have questions, of course, reach out. So, let's get right into it. Satire, what is it? Well, if you can read the board behind me, it says satire is using humor to criticize other people's opinions. Usually it's other people's stupidity. In satire, there's someone who is the butt of the joke. So you could always go to your handy-dandy Google, type in define satire, and it gives you pretty much the same exact definition, just with a little bit of extra. It mentions irony, it mentions exaggeration. Irony is another thing we're going to kind of cover in today's video lesson. And then it gives you a couple of different, I keep pointing at my screen like you're going to be able to see my hands. It gives you some different synonyms to use as well. So mocking someone, that's usually a form of satire, right? So if you find yourself mocking someone later, you can just say you did it for English homework, right? Okay. So another form of satire is something that I'm sure most of you are familiar with, sarcasm. Okay, and that's kind of what this PowerPoint is going to kind of talk about. So sarcasm is kind of like praise that's usually actually meant as an insult. So think of some examples of sarcasm. I'm sure you could think of many, like, oh, Mr. Schafer, it's so cool that you're 30 years old and you still like Pokemon, right? Like, that's awesome. Or, wow, I'm glad to see that you dressed up for today's classroom video today. That's an awesome outfit you have. You know, so just kind of roll with it. Get creative. Usually, it is made out of the desire to put someone down. For example, you see a junky car and you respond, ooh, that ride is hot. Or where can I get a car like that? So I don't know how many of you have seen the show Big Bang Theory. I'm sure you're familiar with it. But one of the characters, Sheldon, does not understand sarcasm. And a couple of these videos right here show exactly how that plays out for him. So those of you who are at home, go ahead and pause me and then watch these two videos. All right? While you're watching them, try to identify where does the sarcasm come in. All right? We will discuss that as a class. Keep an eye on this posting here where I have this video, and I will post an image of the classroom discussion as I write examples and things down on the whiteboard. All right, so go ahead, pause this video, watch Sheldon. I'll be right here when you get back. Oh, wasn't that hilarious? Anyway, you can see here's some other examples of sarcasm in Big Bang Theory. Leonard at the top of the line here. You convinced me. Maybe tonight we should sneak in and shampoo her carpet. You don't think that crosses the line? Yes, for God's sake, Sheldon, I do. Do I have to hold up a sarcasm sign every time I open my mouth? You have a sarcasm sign? So, Sheldon starts to get it a little bit later in the season. You can read some of these other ones. The one on the bottom. Sheldon asks, why are you crying? Penny says, oh, because I'm stupid. Well, that's no reason to cry. One cries because one is sad. So, Sheldon clearly missed her example of sarcasm there. She's not really crying because she's stupid, right? So, another form of satire that we can talk about is, in the Google definition, you may have saw how it talks about ridicule, right? So, ridiculing something is when you are diminishing something, making it look dumber than it actually is, or trying to make it belittle it, make less of a deal. So, this often is done for out of amusement, maybe some contempt, scorn, or anger. It uses laughter as a defense. Usually it's justified by those who practice it as a cure to whatever the problem is. All right, so the example down here in this video is from The Simpsons, and they make fun of Apple, right? And what are some things that you could think they would make fun of Apple for? All right, I'll field those questions from the class, but you online, think about it for a second. I feel like Dora the Explorer. Anyway, you could make fun of Apple for being expensive. You could make fun of them for making it so that nobody can use aux cords anymore. You could make fun of it for any number of things. Their CEO used to wear jeans on the stage, and who would wear jeans when doing something professional? See, that's why you cut it off at the waist. So, if you watch these videos, go ahead, take a pause, and we as a class will discuss the examples of satire in here. I will upload the images of our discussion to the classroom after. Alright, so if you've just finished watching the Simpsons video, let me make sure that you know where we can start filling out the information. So, go to the PowerPoint that I gave you. Starts with this big yellow slide. And I accidentally put these slides out of order. I'll try and rearrange them. Maybe it'll be better once you're watching the video. But in here, you can go and type in different examples of satire from the video you just watched. Right? So one example of satire was how Lisa really wanted an iPod, and she wanted to go in, and we laugh at the ideas like, can I just get some fake, one of the sample earbuds? And, you know, we laugh first because, you know, we've all been there, right? We want to get something that makes us look cool, but we can't actually afford it. So maybe you kind of do the, try to find the cheapest way to make that happen. So they go to get them for them, but then it turns out they're $40 and she can't afford that either. So expensive fake products. So what is it making fun of? Well, it's making fun of a couple of things, really. It's making fun of Lisa's desire to be cool. But it's also making fun of stupid things costing a lot of money. All right. So as we are beginning this year, I'm sure we're all going to have to work with being familiar and good with these kinds of word editing programs. So, you know, I just kind of moved this here to give it a set it up in the box better. But now that we've got that in, go ahead on your own and type in other examples of satire. You can do that from both this Simpsons video where she's in the Maple store, or you can do it from this video that is another educator's video that kind of specifically identifies a ton of other examples of satire within Simpsons. So take a minute, watch both of those, fill out this slide, and then we're going to jump over to learning about irony. So on your end, guys, you're going to want to go to this slide. And it's kind of hard to read for me on my screen. Hopefully you can get a better look at it. But I'm going to jump over to this slide and talk about irony. So irony is basically when something happens that's the opposite of what's intended. There's a couple of different forms, as you can see right here on this slide. You have the first example listed there is verbal irony. So verbal irony is when the examples that I've given so far, most of what was happening in the Big Bang Theory, where something is said that means the opposite. So the example there, that is a great look for you, right? So we don't actually mean you look like crap. Another example, situational irony. This is something that happens a lot in TV shows and movies and is used for comedic effect, where the outcome is something different than what we or what the character would have expected to happen. So the example listed here, you guys are juniors, most of you are about to be 16, or if you're not already, you probably expect to have a car on your 16th birthday potentially. That would be a big surprise from somebody. But then you get surprised with a bike. So there's the situational irony, right? Dramatic irony. This is specifically inside either like a play or a movie or a TV show where the audience, we as the viewer, know something is happening, but the characters are operating without that information. Okay, so for example, we've seen like a crime movie where maybe, I think this happened in Batman, where a mobster gets into the car and as soon as he turns that key, we know the ignition's about to blow up. There's that dramatic irony because maybe you like that character. You're like, oh no, don't turn the key. And then some cool guy walks away without looking at the explosion. So now that we've kind of got a base look at irony, see if I can get this a little bit bigger here. You're going to look at here. So the scenario, a 90-year-old man wins the lottery. What kind of irony is that? Think about it for a little bit. The situation here is that you have a very old man winning a ton of money. He doesn't have long to live to use it. So it's ironic because it's funny because a young person really could have, lived their whole life with that money. But this old man, he's going to be gone soon, so he won't be able to enjoy it as much. Go through here, take a look. I will make sure that you have and put the type of irony in. We'll discuss some of the answers here in class, and I'll post those to the video after that. All right, the last form of satire that we're going to talk about today is called parody. Now, I'm sure all of you have either heard the word parody or you might already know what it is. But basically, what parody is when you are imitating the work or style of another writer or artist or genre, okay? Usually there is some sort of deliberate exaggeration, and it's done for comic relief. It's done to be funny. Most of the time you can find parodies that are common in artistic fields like music, paintings, and film, things like that. So the Venn diagram here, we're going to watch two different videos. We're going to watch Michael Jackson's Bad, and we're going to watch Weird Al Yankovic's parody of that song, Fat. Okay? So I want you guys to go to this, pause me, and watch both of these music videos, okay? And as you're watching them, I want you to compare and contrast the videos, all right? What are some of the things that are unique to Bad, and what are some of the things that are unique to Fat? You can put those in the differences column. And then when you're done with that, you can go to the similarities and put in how are they similar, all right? So I will tell you, if one of the differences you noticed was that Weird Al started off with this big ol' intro to his music video. He was making a parody of the original music video that Michael Jackson had. And if you want to find it on YouTube, there is a 20-minute music video where it starts off with like a whole scene of Michael Jackson at a school. Well, that's a very flattering freeze frame for him. But then it all comes down to the scene that you saw Weird Al going through, where he confronts the guys in the alley, and then, you know, dance number. So, hopefully, this kind of gives you an idea of some of the different types of satire. We talked about mockery, we talked about ridicule, we talked about parody, we talked about sarcasm. What we're going to do in the next couple of days will be uploaded on Google Classroom. Keep an eye out there. See if you can find any memes on the internet that use different types of satire, and save those for a upcoming lesson. In the meantime, drop a comment on the Google Classroom to let me know that you saw this video, and try to come up with a sarcastic remark in the comments. Sarcasm is always fun to read over the internet, so hope you guys found the video enlightening. Please send me an email if you have any questions or issues, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.